Good evening, Whisky Club members. It's Craig here, your head of whisky creation in Scotland, and we've got a bit of a treat for you today. For those of you in Australia, you got the Glenlivet Cask Strength as your whisky of the month last month, and for those in New Zealand, this is coming to you next month. This morning over here, this evening for yourselves, I am joined by Kevin Balmforth, the Master Blender who put this incredible whisky together. How's it going, Kevin?
Hi, Craig. Yep, I'm doing very well. Happy to be here. I'm here from my sample room in Scotland. We're just outside Glasgow, on our main sort of HQ in Scotland. So delighted to be here.
Superb. I have to say, as shelfies go, that one behind you looks rather enticing.
That's one of many in here. We've got several more like that.
Fantastic. So this evening in Australia and New Zealand, we're joined by members. As I say, some of them have got their bottle, and some are tuning in to hear about the next bottle that's going to show up for them. I think what we'll do this evening is we'll dive a bit into your past and maybe go through your journey to become Master Blender for one of the powerhouses of Scotch whisky, and then obviously we'll talk about the whisky itself. But before we do that, those that are tuned in, this is your opportunity to ask your questions to Kevin. So if you have any burning questions about the whisky, about his job, about the Scotch industry, chuck them in the comments. The best question in Australia will get next month's Whisky of the Month on us, and the best one in New Zealand will get a couple of our founders' crystal Glencairn glasses sent out so you can enjoy your next dram with a pal. All right, Kevin, we are in the midst of a heat wave here in Scotland. 25 degrees for 3 days in a row is what we're being told. What better way to celebrate the summer than with a nice tropically Glenlivet? Can you give everyone a wee bit of an insight into Glenlivet as a distillery, as a make, and maybe your favorite things about working with that particular whisky?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I'm very familiar with Glenlivet, having worked with Glenlivet for nearly 27 years now. You know, nosing and tasting Glenlivet, and it's just a privilege to work with such an iconic single malt. It's that classic Speyside flavors. You know, those sort of orchard fruits. The signature style. It's got that so really sort of estuary, sort of pear droppy, banana, sort of tropical fruit notes. Really, sweet fruity orchard fruits, which just works so well, with, well, in this case, what we'll be tasting today with American oak. It's just a perfect, affinity for that type of cask, and it's got to be one of my favorite combinations.
Yeah, I mean, iconic is the word for this brand. I'm already seeing in the comments some people that, I think Glenlivet 12 would have been a lot of people's entryway into the world of single malt. I've noticed people here making the Glenlivet and Adura sort of comparison and saying that opened their eyes to what whiskey can be. So I'm keen to talk about that. But before we dive further into the 14, can you give us a wee bit of an idea of your 20-odd year journey to become Master Blender? How did it all start for you?
Yeah, sure. It's not a normal one these days. Getting in as Master Blender. So I just got promoted to Master Blender in January this year. So I'm seven months in a row after Sandy retired in December. Congrats. So it's a dream come true for me now, and I can't believe I'm quite here now talking as the Master Blender. But I started back I moved to Scotland in 1998. I moved to Scotland because of a girl, and we lived on an island off the west coast of Scotland, Isle of Bute. Don't know if you know it. Idyllic, yes, but the winter quite harsh. We thought so. We moved back to the mainland after about 10 months, and literally within sort of 2 months, I got a job at Chivas. It was literally agency phoned me up, said there's a job going in the blending department at Chivas. I said, look, I haven't got any scientific degree or anything like that, and they were like, don't need it. Went along. It was Colin Scott was the master blender at the time. Don't know if you know Colin. I had the strangest interview with Colin. We talked more about rugby and cricket than we did about whiskey. But he gave me a nosing test, and I got the job. And it turned out I really learned to love whiskey and get passionate about whiskey. And it turns out I was very good at nosing and tasting, just literally on the job. So I've stayed in blending my entire career now with Chivas. From that October the 4th, 1999. To now, I've worked, with Colin for 6 years, and then with Sandy Hyslop for 20 years, nearly 20 years. and now as the Master Blender, just working my way up. A much more, probably slower, more gradual, sort of, more in-depth experience than you would get these days. Everyone that's coming to my department these days, they have, or is applying for a job as a blender, has got industry experience, has got qualifications, brewing, distilling qualifications, has worked in distilleries, was worked as a tour guide, or has got all that sort of experience. That wasn't me. But it's what everyone's got in this department, especially in blending at Shivers, is passion for Scotch whisky, and that's the key ingredient.
Yeah. I mean, passion, enthusiasm, and I mean, to your point as well. I think having the ability to talk about what you can smell with other people and that side of things, like that communication, is probably really important in the blending team as well, I imagine.
And everyone gets better at that. We assess. We're a big company. There's a lot of quality roles. We're in charge of the entire quality function. We can talk about that in depth, but there's about 280 people in quality roles that are making a decision on quality, and we train and assess all of them. And most of them will say, "Oh, I'm no good at this. I'm no good at tasting and nosing." But as human beings, we're actually all quite good at it. There's very, very few people that aren't good at it, and you get better and better at practice. And the more you talk about it, the more experience you can have with experienced people. With people like myself, or the more experienced people in the blending team. That day-to-day experience, you will get better and better, and everyone can be taught, trained to be pretty proficient at nosing and tasting.
Yeah, look, that's I think the quality of what you guys are putting out speaks for itself. Now we've got some cracking questions already in the chat. I'm going to put a couple of them together. So you've got Clinton Duff's asking how you balance the Glenlivet's traditional Speyside character while still experimenting with the new ideas. And then Bernie Harris is asking, sorry, not Bernie Harris. Where are we? Peter Ryan's asking, how many casks do you have at your disposal? And are there any experimental ones that you could share with us? So we'll bring those two together.
Yeah, I mean, we're experimenting all the time. There's no question about that. And Glenlivet, the core Glenlivet flavor really lends itself to just experimenting with lots of different cask types. And we've seen that, we've done that with rum and on all sorts of different flavors, and that to really bring out that sort of tropical sweetness. So yeah, I mean, I can't say give too much away on what we're doing, because we've got some really good things in the pipeline coming out, but we're very active in terms of experimenting, sourcing new cask types, new oak types from around the world, and trialing them out. And not all of it works, some of it doesn't work, and people will never see those, but sometimes it does, and we trying to keep an open mind. I have quite a good idea of what's going to happen, but sometimes you're surprised. It's a very natural process maturing in cask. You could have the same first fill American oak cask sitting side by side, and then after 12 years, 14 years, you can get two different flavors. It's amazing how even you fill them with the same spirit, and the older a cask get, the more the little nuances in the cask, the shape, the composition, these just the conditions that can get bigger over time. Those little nuances, and and it's amazing. That's why we have, when you get to these sort of ages, you need to sample every cask, check every cask, because you can be surprised just what sort of flavors you can get from the same cask type.
Yeah. Oh, look, the sampling regime must be intense. I've got a feeling that there's a few thousand people in Australia who'd be happy to come and help you if you ever needed it to get through them all.
We have 6.5. I can tell you we have over. It's not a Glenlivet, but in terms of our whole portfolio, we have over 6.5 million casks.
Oh, right. The whole membership's got to get together then.
So yeah, we have only 5.5 million people in Scotland, so we have more casks than people. So we're well stocked.
We'll keep doing our bit across here, I suppose. Now, I will go back to Bernie Harris's question, because it's a good one as well. He's saying it's an unusually warm winter in Queensland. I don't know what that means in Queensland. It could be 30 degrees plus normally there, but is asking about how warmer summers actually affect the spirit. So you mentioned there that every cask puts its own fingerprint on the spirit.
Yeah.
Do you see like seasonal differences or particular vintages that stand out based on the weather?
Temperature does have a big impact, and we see that more on where the cask is in the warehouse. We can see that directly. So I mean, during the winter periods, the warehouse is going to be roughly, you know, similar in terms of temperature, but the summer there's quite big differences. So at the top of the warehouse is much warmer, and there's literally a step by step. It literally, the temperature gradually gets cooler, you know, the lower you go down the warehouse. And when we're doing small batches, especially single cask, small batches, special editions, just like this one that we're going to taste today, we have to pay particular attention to where the cask is in the warehouse, because that is where it's picked up, you know, that temperature difference. So at the top of the warehouse where it's warmer during those summer periods, like I say, during the winter it has that, you know, it's much cooler, it's not going to have the same effect, but during the summer it's going to be much warmer, and you know, the first few tiers much warmer, it's losing much more water. So it's losing a lot more volume, but the strength stays high. It doesn't lose much alcohol. You know, the ABV stays really high, but then the volume in the cask is much lower. It's taking much more out of the wood. It's like it intensifies the maturation, and you get more cask effect. You get more influence from the cask. So you're getting, you know, you might get a bit more of those like oak spice notes, more intense sort of vanilla flavors coming through. And then literally every tier you go down, it's slightly, you know, it's slightly less temperature, and you get, you know, it's a spicier, drier style at the top of the warehouse. So I want to generalize it if I can. A spicier, sort of spicy, drier style whiskey at the top of the warehouse, and a sweeter, sort of fruitier, floral sort of style at the bottom of the warehouse. And it's literally, you can track it by color, you know, almost step by step as you go down. So it makes a huge difference. At the bottom warehouse, you know, it loses a lot more strength much quicker, so there's more volume in the cask, and you know, retains more water, and it's a slower maturation. You're not going to get so much of those spice notes. You're going to get a sweeter finish compared to the sort of more warming, dry spice finish. So we can play with that. You know, same make going to those casks. Depending on those temperatures and of the seasonal effects, and that's where all the magic comes in. You know, with casks, you never know. Going to know. I don't track what's happened in the last 14 summers, you know, to see if this 14-year-old is going to be different to another 14-year-old. We just go and sample the casks, and then we put them together. But they will have an effect. There's no question. There will be a seasonal effect, and we can, you know, and we go out and sample casks, and that's why we can create so many different whiskeys, so many different flavors of whiskeys, thousands of whiskeys out there. No one disputes that they all taste the same. It's because even within that, you know, same warehouse, that length of period, that maturation time, there's little nuances of flavor. That's where we've got within that inventory of 6.5 million casks, we've got so many different flavors, so many different things that we can work with and blend and mix together and create different experiences and different flavors.
So it sounds like Bernie's dream of having a cask sent over to age in Queensland isn't going to happen. It's probably not the right environment, Bernie. So we've just shattered your dreams there. But
if it's too warm, you won't end up you won't end up much in the car. That's the problem. You get this nice, intense sort of a drier spice whiskey, but there's not much of it. It's much rarer because the angels have taken most of it.
Now, this is the biggest number of questions I think we've had at one of these in a long time, and I do want to try and get through as many as possible. So Jacques has asked a cracking question. So he's just starting out in his whiskey collecting, and he's asking about a hidden gem of style or lesser known cask type from Speyside that you think more people should pay attention to. But I'm going to bring in the traditional side as well, because Tom Savage in New Zealand is a massive fan of Founder's Reserve, American Oak, and he's asking, other than age and ABV, how does the 14-year-old differ? So if we can take that in two steps, how is the American Oak of this one compared to other American Oaks you've released? And then we'll go back to the cask question about unusual casks that are out in the wild for people to find?
So yeah, so this one particularly, it's 100% first fill, American oak. We can't say, just to get really techie on you, we can't say bourbon, because a lot of our first fill casks are coming from either Jack Daniels or Beam, and as you know, Jack Daniels isn't a bourbon, but it's quite similar flavors. So we're talking first fill American oak. An American oak, as you know, is going to bring those vanilla flavors, those honey, coconut, caramel flavors. The difference with this one is that we've hand selected the casks, and we actually have, we talked about, and it was quite pertinent to what we were saying, that location in the warehouse makes a key difference. It makes a fundamental difference on the flavor after 14 years, after so many summers. So what we did with this one is we aimed, you can probably tell by the ABV, I think it's 58.6. With the majority of this selection of casks that made up this unique batch is from the upper half of the warehouse. So we've gone for this. We wanted to try and create more intense sort of vanilla, toffee, fudge type flavors without not going right to the top of the warehouse. We don't, because then you get this sort of, and it's quite nice, but it's a different style. It's a warming, spice, drier finish. This isn't a dry finish. What we want is to get that intensity of flavor with a sweet finish, because that's what I'm really is one of my go-to whiskeys. It's just that Speyside whiskey, an American oak with those sort of orchard fruits, sweet flavors, and that sweet sort of long finish, and that is this taken to a level up, and almost like intensifying those vanilla, toffee, fudge flavors. That's what we tried to achieve with this, and that's what we've got. And it pays homage to, I think we mentioned the Nodora earlier. It pays homage to those those quite sort of iconic range that we used to do. It's cask strength, it's 100% first fill. This even more so, I would say, this 14-year-old is probably even more sort of bespoke, more hand selected than Nodora, but it's a similar style. The difference with this one is we've intentionally gone for that sort of top tier, sort of higher tier class selection.
Yeah. For just on that, like obviously the hand selected, the small batch side of things. One thing we we're very lucky here at the Whisky Club when we work with with the brands and the distilleries. We do almost give you free rein to create something for us, right? We're not asking for you to be able to repeat something. How did that affect your thinking when putting this one together? Like, we came in, we said we need X volume, we'd love it at cask strength, and then after that it was a case of what can you come up with for us? Like, was there any shackles that were unleashed because you don't have to repeat this? Like, how did that work in the mindset?
Yeah, it's quite freeing. We can go out and sample. I mean, we will always start by going out and just sampling a range of casks, and we're from different locations in the warehouse. These are mostly warehoused in Speyside as well. We do have some other maturation sites around the sort of central belt and the lowlands of Scotland. Majority of these we intentionally got them from Speyside. It's a little bit cooler, and yeah, you just go out and sample. Like I say, you can never guess exactly what you're going to get. We can write down a plan. We can say, right, we're going to go for this. We go higher tier, because we want to get that sort of intensity of flavor in a small batch, because you can't replicate that. If we try to replicate this batch year and year and year, we wouldn't be able to do it, because we would be emptying all our top tiers, and inventory would not be happy with us at all. But when we come to a single batch like this, we can certainly do that. So it gives us a license to be able to literally do what this is the sort of whiskey that if I had a license, this is my go-to whiskey to create this intensity of flavor. I can do that, and so that's what we've done.
Brilliant. For cask strength again, we've got people on different different levels of their whiskey journey. I can see here, let me just, Ben Moreland is happy with the octane level in this one. 58.6% is an amazing ABV, he says. But then Jacques has also commented about the strength. And I think that's something really important for people to remember. A cask strength whiskey is cask strength to give you as the drinker the opportunity to find your sweet spot with it, right? So how do you advise folk who are maybe a bit intimidated by a cask strength? How should they approach it?
So I try not to tell people how they should drink whiskey. They should really kind of work it out themselves and what's suitable for them. I give some guidelines and some tips. 58 is strong. I mean, it's too strong for me. I would be adding water to that. It's not going to harm the whiskey. You reduce that right down. I mean, we reduce everything to 20%. That's not how I drink whiskey, but in terms of discerning flavors, if you want to literally analyze a whiskey and give yourself the best chance to discern as many flavors from that whiskey, 20% ABV for nosing is the best strength. It's for tasting, it's 30% ABV. That's the optimum strength to discern flavors. I normally taste whiskeys around 40, so I'll be around 35, 40 for this sort of age. As you get older, you got to be a little bit careful because flavors get more intense, especially when you go 18, 21 plus. The intensity of flavor gets more, but the actual the balance of the whiskey gets more delicate. So and they get smoother as well. So you got to be a little bit careful, when you start to get up to those ages about adding too much water because you can kill the whiskey. At this age, I think feel free to add a little water. If the alcohol is too hot when you're drinking it, you're not going to enjoy the experience as much, and you're not going to be able to discern the flavors. So you need to add enough water in there so you're going to get those sweet, fruity flavors with the warming, because you need that warmth from the alcohol. That's part of the experience. You definitely need that. But if it feels too hot, then you add a little bit of water, and just work out where your spot is. And the more you get used to it, you might find the less water you need. That's just that's just what happens. But nothing is. It's not better. It's not a case of being better. The higher ABV you drink it at. It's about you just enjoying the whiskey and experiencing the flavors. So most people will need to add water to do that, and it won't harm the whiskey if you do it.
Yeah, just a few drops at a time, Jack. But you're on the right track. That's some great advice. Now here is, I don't know if this is a loaded question. I think it's a cracking question though. Kulshinder has asked, as a master blender, how does your own personal taste preferences influence the whiskey? How much of Kevin Balmforth are we getting in the Chivas portfolio going forward?
Well, hopefully you will. But obviously, in terms of your Glenlivet 12, the core ranges, they won't change, and that's what we do. We put a lot of work. Like I said at the beginning, we're a very traditional blending department. There's only 8 of us in the whole team, but we're at every stage of the operation. From distillation, maturation, through to blending, bottling. Every single stage, we see the whiskey move. Every time the spirit moves, we get a sample. We travel up to Speyside. Like I say, we're based around here at Kilmalid, just outside Glasgow, because we have to be here. It's our only bottling site. This is where most of the casks are emptied, and that's where the blender needs to be, where the casks are being emptied. But we travel up to Speyside every single week, and we check every single drop that goes into us. So for Glenlivet, for example, every single drop that goes into the cask, we assess it. We actually put it into blue glasses and code it and do it blind, hidden control, and we rate it out of 5. 5 being perfect, match the standard. 4, there's a slight difference, but it's still good. We still call it a fair plus. If it goes down to 3, then there's something that's not quite gone wrong right with the distillery there. It's not quite hitting the core flavor profile. We'll use it up in a standard blending and get it out of the system. For your information, this one is all 5s. Everything is fair plus. Everything was scored 5s, and I've been doing that for 27 years now. So I could say with absolute confidence, I would have known all the new distillate that went into this bottle that we're going to taste today, every single drop. So we put a huge effort into maintaining that quality, and we're very hands-on. We're nosing casks, before they're being emptied. There's that final check. Every time that spirit moves, we're checking it. Every bottle that goes off the bottling line, we check every single batch. So very hands-on, very traditional, and that is you know, as now the master blender, that's how it's going to continue. But you know, I do have, come back to the original question, you know, I do I do like certain styles. I do like the American oak, I got to say. And there's two main types of, you know, there's American oak and sherry. There's, you know, we do have lots of other ones that, you know, are one-off editions, but there are two main types. And I gravitate more to the American oak. I like that sweeter style. Don't get me wrong, I love sherry as well. I love that in that intensity, that richness. It has a spicier, dry sort of, you know, spice finish. And I like the combination too, that double oak, you know, the European and American oak. I gravitate more to that side. Well, you might see some more, you know, going forward, some more whiskies in that style, possibly. Yes, we'll see.
I mean, I think the thing to point out on that though is that you might see some other styles like this in the future, but you'll never see this exact one again. This was all 5-star spirit, 5-star casks, all handpicked by yourself and put together just for members. So for those that are in Australia, you've got it. It's sort of it's kind of unfortunately been and gone for you guys, but for the team that's in New Zealand, this is your chance to double up, because this is coming, and you already see the comments from the Aussie counterparts in the Facebook and YouTube feeds. This was a belter, and the other thing that we can announce is it also won a gold medal at San Francisco. So, you know, award-winning 14-year-old cask strength, first fill American oak Glenlivet that will never be repeated in this exact combination ever again. So this is your chance to double up in New Zealand. Sorry for that little hydration break, that little advert in the middle there. So now let me come back. There was another couple of really good questions that I want to throw to you here, Kevin. Let me just find them further up the page. Where have we gone? Lots of people asking what we're going to do together next. I think before we go into the tasting of the whiskey, this is again an absolutely cracking question from Chris Hitchin. What's going to be your dram of choice when Scotland win the World Cup, Kevin?
Well, yeah. Well, what I'd say is we've actually done. I don't think this is a secret. We did a special. It's not going for sale, but we did a special edition for the World Cup. It's just internal, just for employees. So what we selected, we did a Strathclyde single grain, because Strathclyde being it's no Strathclyde, but it's right in the heart of Glasgow, and Glasgow being one of the sort of, you know, has an affinity with football. You know, both Glasgow Rangers and Celtic from Glasgow. We thought, well, let's pick Strathclyde. It's there. It's in the heart of Glasgow. We've gone for an American oak because it's, you know, it's over there in America. So we've gone. It's actually a virgin American oak. So we've got a Strathclyde single grain, 17 years old, virgin American oak. Only 28 bottles, because it's been 28 years since Scotland were last in the World Cup.
Fantastic.
So yeah, so it's only for internal release, I'm afraid. So it's only employees that are going to get that. But that's we've actually done a sort of a mini rare bottling to sort of celebrate Scotland getting to the World Cup, and we got a bank holiday here as well. So along with a bank holiday for we got a Monday off, which was bizarre, because it was the first game was a Saturday going to Sunday morning, and they gave us Monday off. They obviously expected a lot of celebrating to go on.
Oh look, we'll take it. I think we get a bank holiday week if we get through the group stages, so that's not too bad. I'm going to throw it back to the folks that are tuning in. Give us what you're going to be consuming if Australia win the World Cup. Chuck that in the comments just to confuse Scott and Dan behind the scenes. But the other question that I really want to put to you before we go to nosing the whiskey, Gerard Dutton's asking what prompted Glenlivet to do an exclusive release for the Whisky Club in particular, because I believe this is the first time ever that we've been able to kind of co-share a label with our logo on there. So what was the inspiration behind that? Is that something that you can answer?
I mean, I mean, I can say just from, I mean, that there'll be, you know, the marketing teams and things will be very much involved in that too. But we've had quite a long collaboration now. We've done quite a few expressions for you guys, and it's, you know, we just want to take it to the next level, and we're happy to do that. I think some of the whiskeys, some of the award-winning whiskeys that we've produced for you guys have been absolutely outstanding. I mean, I love it. I love it. I love doing these special editions, and long may it continue.
Yeah, I mean, just from our side, for those tuning in, like working with the Glenlivet and the wider Chivas group is always a joy, especially from, you know, with my role as the head of whisky creation. There's nothing better than getting samples through from the Chivas team. But if you look back at the Glenlivet history with the club, some of the single casks we've done in the past have been absolutely out of this world. And it was just, it made sense to, you know, continue to keep ramping that collaboration up and ramping the quality up, as well as the style and the ABV. So pulling this one together has been a very long but a very fruitful journey. And there's no way that we could have imagined this, I think, when the club started out. So we're very proud to have this under our belt, and the feedback from all our members is a testament to how good this whiskey is. So I think, without further ado, we should probably do a wee tasting. Kevin, can you lead us through the dram of the Glenlivet 14 for the folks that are tuned in?
Let's do it. So, like I said, we've touched on already. So the Glenlivet style has got that sort of tropical fruits. It's got that pear drops in there. It's got these estery, sweet, fruity notes. That's its classic style. And this is 100% first fill American oak. It's going to add vanilla. It's going to add honey, sort of coconut notes, and that's what you're getting when you're getting that nose. Even that this is at full strength. I've got this at even at that ABV, you know, normally I wouldn't nose it at this level, but I'm still getting that vanilla. I'm getting toffee, caramel, sort of lovely sort of fudge notes. The more you nose it, I just get drawn in. Just more that sweet, fruity sort of milk chocolate. It just goes on and on. I'm gonna add a little bit of water.
I'm gonna do the same. I do like it at strength, but a wee spot of water absolutely it blows it open.
It will blow it open, and you just be able to, and all those flavors I was talking about there, you'll just be able to appreciate them a little bit more. If you add a little bit of water, you'll be able to see the, you know, especially the vanilla notes. But it's those classic, you know, it's definitely a sweeter style when you're nosing it. You're definitely getting those sweeter style. That there's some fruits in there. You know, I'm not getting huge amount of spice notes in there. Let's give it a taste. Like I say, we went for, this is the delicious. This is the you know, we selected casks near the you know, that higher end of the warehouse just to get those, you know, intensify those sweet notes. So we're getting, you know, you're getting toffee, you're getting like toffee apple notes, you're getting, you know, caramel. It's vanilla. It's sweet. It's very smooth. It's very Moorish. You know, you might get a hint of spice because we're going for that. You might get just a subtle on the finish, a little subtle sort of the oak spice notes coming through. We didn't want to go too far, you know, down that route because I do like that sweeter finish. I find that a more sort of approachable whiskey almost, you know, that if you taste it 2, 3, 4 times, that sweet finish, you know, wants you to come back for more, you know. It's got, you know, I find that's why I gravitate more to the American oak style. You know, like I say, I love a sherry, but that's spice, you know, the spice, the intensity is almost like one is enough. But when you're drinking a Glenlivet, that Speyside core flavors with the American oak first fill, with that cask selection process in place, using the stock that we've, you know, that's been graded, you know, Fair Plus, you know, the highest grade stock we can get. You combine all those factors, you get just wonderful sort of smooth Glenlivet style American oak finish. It's it is the epitome for me of a Speyside first fill whiskey. You're not going we're not going to be able to do much better than that. That is for that's it for me.
We're going to try together, Kevin. We're going to try, but it's a high bar. Now,
we can do different styles. That's for sure. There's lots of different styles of whiskey.
There's lots of comments about sherry casks, lots of comments about rum casks, lots of comments about getting more bottles. I'm going to leave that to the guys behind the scenes to work out. But yeah, this one seems to have really landed. And as I said at the start, for a lot of people, Glenlivet is their entry into single malt whiskey. It's amazing to see folk who are further down their journey stay connected with the brand and then find something like this and go, oh, actually, this is also for the enthusiasts.
Honestly, I think Glenlivet has an affinity with American oak. I think just the combination of flavors just works so well. And we talk about sherry. People love sherry because it's very distinctive. It's very recognizable. And it is a fantastic combination of whiskey. But I just think Glenlivet just works so well with American oak. And it's just such a great combination of flavors.
Yeah, it's an absolute gem. Now we're coming to the end of our time. Unfortunately, we've got a few more minutes left. I've got one final question for you. And then while we do that, I'll let the guys behind the scenes let me know who has won the competition. But I know that I've been doing a little bit of research, Kevin. I know that you like me, you're an avid gamer. You do like
so you have been doing your research.
A bit of time on the PlayStation 5. So if Glenlivet was to be a game, what type of game would it be, and how would you see it sort of show up?
Oh God, that's a
it's a tough question, isn't
it? I don't know how you relate to it. I did do a whiskey for a game.
Tell us more.
Which one was that? It was Moth and Wolf. Moth and Wolf. God, I can't remember what game it was. Don't remember. Anyway, let me. So I think I would have to go for one of my favorite games of all time. I like sort of strategy role playing games. That's my sort of. So we're talking Dark Souls, that type. Any Souls type game is where I'm happiest. And I'm a big fantasy reader. I like all the fantasy books. So Elden Ring is really up there for me. So I'm gonna go with Elden Ring because it's just one of the classic Souls type games of all time, and I've played it through about 3 or 4 times.
Fantastic. I actually I got through Bloodborne last year and very much enjoyed it. I think that would be a sherry cask Glenlivet, the old Bloodborne. But I thought I'd spring that one on you. Now,
that's fine.
So just before we wrap up, I can let the winners know. The Australian winner, Jacques Dutoit, you are going to get next month's Whisky of the Month on us. And in New Zealand, Francois van de Kerk, you are going to get a couple of these incredible crystal glasses for asking some great questions for Kevin this evening. And the Glenlivet journey is going to continue for our members in New Zealand. When your bottles land, we're going to set a date and details, but I'm going to jump on with any members that want to, and we'll do a live tasting with those that get their bottles next month. So stay tuned for that one. But yeah, just finally, Kevin, on behalf of myself, Bertie, the rest of the Whisky Club team, I just want to say thank you for this incredible whiskey. Thanks for all the work that we've done together, and we're looking forward to the next batch. And of course, thanks for jumping on so early in the morning here in Scotland to take everyone through it. So yeah, on behalf of all of us, Slange var, Kev.
Slange, it's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure. It's not early for me. I'm in work at 7, but it's an absolute pleasure. It's not a chore for me. There's lots of, don't get me wrong, this job is a challenging job, and there's lots of challenges and that we have to deal with. But for creating whiskies like this. It's an absolute pleasure. You know, it's a dream, and let's do many, many more.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And for everyone tuned in, we'll see you all next time. Cheers.
Cheers.